Hello, everyone, anyone. This is Aaron, the Webguy, and of course, I'm with
Alexie Aaron.
That's the author of the Haunted series and the Synth and Latham Mysteries, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I already knew this information, but it was good to confirm it.
Yes.
Make sure we're all in the right building, right? You're not Jar Jar.
No,
right?
No.
Okay.
I actually finished a book.
Jar Jar Martin. All right. Anyway, enough bad jokes. Simple introductions aside, how's winter treating you?
It's good. It's good. We're going to release books soon.
Oh, we're gonna release books soon. Well, that's the clickbait for the end. You got to wait till the end.
Oh,
You can't just let it out there.
I guess so.
But we are going to, and we'll tell you the date that we're comfortable saying is going to be out at the end of the podcast. But this podcast is going to be devoted to the second Haunted series novel named Ghostly Attachments. And I have read this one, so you can't pull one over on me this time. I mean, last time I read the previous one too, but it had been a while. But I'm caught up, so she can't just be lying about this and that.
Did you read this one or listen to it as a book on tape?
I read it. Although that is an option that I should totally take.
It is available as a book on tape.
The audiobooks are probably a good idea for me, considering I could do other stuff such as this room. The recording studio is my room, and it needs a little bit of work.
Oh yeah.
In fact, if possible, during this podcast, if you hear any rustling around, that's going to be Alexie cleaning the room in exchange for goods and services of recording.
I know. I would say it's the rats got loose.
The rats got loose?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there's Binky, little Binky the rat. All right, so let's get ourselves back on topic. We hope you're having a good winter and such.
Hope you survived the snow, East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast. That was pretty rough there. It's always how it is. It's been pretty decently chill here in Illinois. But all right, so moving forward, Ghostly Attachments, the second Haunted series novel. So you got your first book out there.
Yes.
You got your characters started and grounded. And when it came to making a sequel, sequels are hard to do. The question I have for you is that what made it special for you?
Well, Ghostly Attachments was basically, yes, it was a sequel. I originally thought, well, people were asking for more books, I'll try a sequel. What normally happens with authors is that we'll do a sequel, and then we'll do a third book, and we'll call it a trilogy. And if it really takes off, then you've got a series. But what made Ghostly Attachments special, it was where I wrote two stories at the same time and intermingled them.
So, I guess that was the sort of thing, because you feel like with the first book, it was mainly Mia's story, mixed with the peeps.
Right.
But they were together for the majority of it, right?
No, they were separate.
They were separate, but I mean, they were together. They were both on the same trajectory.
Yeah.
I suppose.
We're dealing with the Hollow. Okay.
So when you're doing two stories going at the same time, testing the waters. I mean, why do they? Because I guess you were testing for readers' beliefs, being able to go each way.
When you read a supernatural novel, a paranormal novel, a ghost hunting novel, there's a certain amount of truth that you pretty much have to accept or disbelieve. You have to suspend your belief. I guess that's what it's called. And what I tried to do in Ghostly Attachments is to see how far I could push the reader before they said, nah, this isn't going to work.
we have a bridge too far.
Yes. Oh, that's it, Alexie. We're done with you.
Okay.
And what I did is I took, in this book, Mia isn't a peep yet. She's a consultant. And she was had some help from her cousin Sabine in the previous book in The Hollow. And Sabine kind of taught her how to bilocate, or we call it oob.
Right, so that brings up the interesting thought when it comes to sequels that, of course, there's going to be new characters being introduced. So
in this case, I took a character from the first book.
From the first book.
A minor character.
A minor character, but decided that, we're stepping them up and we're getting to the next point.
Right, so Sabine disappeared by bilocating.
Okay.
And Mia was asked to help find her because Mia also had been experimenting with bilocation or oobing, which is out of body.
Out of body.
That's what it stands for.
Okay.
Which is great because you can say a girl's out of body and it's goob. I mean, it's more fun with the language. Make it lighter.
Instead of bilocation or farseer. I'm trying to think of fantasy terms for it, honestly. I'm thinking of World of Warcraft spells right now.
Oh, okay. I can't help you there.
I used to call it noob vision. I would take the vision of somebody else. Anyway, that's an interesting joke. So the idea is that's where we first introduced this. But going back to the beginning of the book, speaking as a reader, not just your son and all that, I found that the introduction to this novel was very interesting to me. How it started off, and I especially liked which by the way, I think this was said before, but if not, spoilers for this book are in here.
If not read, go see attachments. Time to turn it off.
Time to turn it off, and you skip to the very end, and we'll let you know. It'll also be in the post. We'll tell you when the book's coming out. But I liked the part especially where at the beginning the car gets filled full of, pardon my French, dog shit.
Okay. Basically, we start off Ghostly Attachments with a husband that has been out on the prowl, and his loyal wife is sitting at home with their twin sons, rocking in the family rocking chair, reading an ebook. She's waiting up for him. He comes home drunk and proceeds to be rather abusive to her. Mm-hmm. Next take basically is Grandma Hoffman, who is attached to this rocking chair that the daughter or the granddaughter-in-law just got out of, decides she doesn't like the husband's attitude, and forms in a full whirling ghost.
Right. So it's kind of, I think the title alone says it all. Ghostly attachments, the idea of entities or spirits just being attached to physical objects was kind of the main, kind of a big part of it, because there was there was a grandmother. You just said her name.
Grandma Hoffman.
I was gonna say Mama Murphy.
No.
And I was like, that's not right.
No, that's not right.
That is incorrect.
Yeah.
No. And beyond that, also when it comes to the idea of attachment, later on, basically as the story envelops, we have the fact that more objects are attached to other entities, such as...
There's 2 dueling pistols that are... I should put it this way. 2 men that have participated in a duel are attached to 2 pistols. Mm-hmm. And they're ghosts, but yet they are still trying to kill each other. So that's going on. Also, the Hoffman twins are attached to a very creepy baby doll and a book of fairy tales.
Now, a quick aside, let's address the cover.
Yes.
And let's address...
The best cover ever.
One of the best covers ever, because that doll is in this house.
Oh, yes.
That doll is in this house. He is a...
he's a family heirloom.
He's a family heirloom. His name is...
Hansel.
There it is. And it's one of those things where it's just, since it's an older doll, I don't know what it is, but it is creepy as anything.
It's an interesting doll.
Yeah.
I like to leave him places. I'm not frightened of Hansel, but the others are, so I like to leave him places. He just he'll pop up in a load of laundry or sitting next to you.
I've seen Hansel pop up in my computer chair before I'm about to get to work, and I'm like, son of a... where I get a little bit
But he's not the only family heirloom that I took to write this book.
It's also on the cover of a lot of these podcasts, too.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's right. That's Hansel on the cover.
Yeah.
Doesn't he look friendly in that picture?
Looks a lot more friendly when he's not like the close-up eye doll, staring straight into your soul and evil. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
The
other family heirloom I used was my, I believe it's on my father's side, an old platform rocker that my mother has presently in her dining room.
Okay, so...
The reason I used it is because it rocks by itself.
And inspiration right there, right?
Right, right. I was, I can tell you from firsthand experience, we used to hear it rock. And the type of rock a platform makes is kind of a growl. It is, so
No,
that kind of is scary.
Let's go back to the noise again. That was fun. Okay.
It's deep. It's
Okay.
a deep groan. And no, so a lot of rockers will make a little higher sound, but this
Okay.
is definitely maybe because it had a lot of weight in it. I don't know. But we used to hear it rock at night, and my parents would explain it away like, "Oh, the dog must have run into it, causing it to rock." Well, so you, as a child, you accept this because you don't want to think of other things. One night I was ousted from my bed. We had visitors, and I volunteered to sleep on the couch in the living room where the rocker was located. About, well, I don't know, 3 in the morning, I hear, and I'm going, okay. At the time, our dog was named Spy. I said, okay, Spy Dog, you know, Spy Dog did it, and Spy Dog licked my hand. He was nowhere near that rocker. I shoved my face into the back of the couch and didn't look. I think the whole idea of actually seeing it rock by itself was more frightening than to hear it rock by itself.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, 2 little boys have, let's say maybe about 7 years ago, saw it rock by itself at my parents' place.
Yeah.
They weren't even in the building.
So there's something there. So there, who knows? There might be something going on there. And well, I mean, so I guess that's the thing. There definitely is. You have a very personal experience of a rocker, which inspired, obviously, a character in this book.
Yes.
Entity. As do you have any other personal, any other objects that kind of have a personal experience or anything else that has any attachment to you that who knows might see in the future or is drawing inspiration? Is it a WD-40 can?
I don't know.
Nail clippers. I'm looking around my room right now.
Well, no, it's, you just don't know. Oh, I can tell you.
Okay.
All right. And I might have mentioned it in a web post before. The crystal doorknob.
That's right.
Okay, we lived in a brand new house. I mean, we saw it being built from the ground up. And all new fittings put in there. But I felt that our master bedroom suite door could use a little extra. So I had my daughter, Kelly, look for a crystal doorknob. At the time, they were not easy to find. So she went looking on the internet and hooked up with an auction house up in New York. It might have been even New Hampshire, I'm not sure. Up in New England.
Right.
And they sent us this doorknob, and I had to have it retrofitted to fit the door. Didn't think anything more about it until we started to having strange things happening in the house. In my case, it was when I was feeling distraught for any reason, a nice cool hand would be petting the side of my face. And one night I looked up and I thought that I'd fallen asleep with my arm over me because I saw an arm over me, but I was holding my hands together. So definitely.
Definitely a spooky experience.
This is also could be the source of the lady that told you to go to bed that one night.
That's true. Yes, I have documented on the webpage as well in a blog my own personal experiences. I tried to think of myself as a man of science and a man of this and that, but I definitely have my eyes open to some things can't be explained on this planet, and I certainly experienced something, and I think a lot of people, the reason why they seek out paranormal or supernatural type stories is because they've run into something themselves that they can't quite explain.
That's true.
That's why I think that's kind of this where I think that is, or a lot of the reason I sought out stuff. I mean, I think that there's a lot of great stuff to be coming from there. But as the book continues, Mia just starts off as a consultant with Peeps, and this is not. It's kind of funny how something that started in the first book, which was the relationship between her and Bert, and this book is where we immediately started testing that.
Yes, it's a little rocky road. I think when I was writing originally, I wasn't seeking out a happy ending for Bert or Mia. Sorry about that, but I wasn't, because we had 2 people who wanted to be in charge. and it doesn't really work. Two alphas are very difficult, have a very difficult relationship, but neither of them knew that because they were in lust and enjoying, and in particular, Mia was enjoying having the company of someone who believed in her and believed of all that she could do.
Right. All right.
So it started to unravel a little bit.
So I think that's in that kind of perhaps gets further examined, if you will, when it comes to Mia's relationship with Murphy.
Yes.
And describe the vortex in Murphy.
Okay. Throughout, basically everywhere, are ley lines, and we're sometimes within to exit a ley line, there is a vortex that forms. It's a natural vortex. It's a way for my Ubers and my ghosts. A physical person can't travel a ley line. They can walk a ley line, but they can't travel in this subway system.
Subway,
It's a subway on speed.
Supernatural subway underneath the ground.
No, it's not under the ground. It's through.
Oh yeah, right.
But it's fueled by the magnetic line under the ground, the ley line. So I had to start making rules for that. But there's a vortex, and Mia was experimenting, or actually was in trouble, in the ley line. And the first thing she thought about is that she wanted to go someplace safe. And thinking that it was going to bring her to her home, she was surprised when she exited the vortex, or shot her hand out, and Murphy pulled her out. So even her subconscious knew that Murphy was who she felt safe with.
Right. And I think that for those folks reading, that's kind of a common theme. In fact, something else happens in Vortex, right?
Later on, Murphy got the idea that he could touch her because he could pull her out if Mia was near the vortex and if she was in this oobing state or this bilocated state. So something very special happened.
Okay.
And would you like to read it?
Well, okay. Well, hey, this is kind of this is my turf now. This is where I try to do this when it comes to the voices and such. Yes, here we are. So Murphy moved forward and Mia backed up. She didn't understand what he
Okay, try English.
Trying it again. Okay, we're cutting that out.
Don't go fast.
We're not cutting it out.
This is meant to be savored.
That's more words. Movie moved forward and Mia backed up. She didn't understand what he was doing until she crossed the threshold of ley line. He reached out and touched her, continued forward, pulling her to him. Steve Murphy bent his head down and kissed her, long and hard, and she felt it. Every sense in her body woke up, and she responded. The impossible had happened. Her conscious mind negated that she was a corporeal being, and he was a man dead for over 150 years. All she knew was that she was locking lips with the man who had saved her life again and again. She felt the roughness of his homespun clothing in her hands, and the prickliness of his beard against her face. Suddenly he pulled apart from her. Mustn't go too far. Now,
Murphy's a gentleman.
He is a gentleman. Although I would like to point out that I'm a little against the... First off, it is a little weird. I'm your son reading this. That's a little weird. Second, prickliness of the beard. Now, beards are fantastic, Mother.
On the inside, maybe not on the outside.
Just saying, this is soft. It's like petting a animal of some sort. Okay, I'm a bit of a werewolf, but the point is, what do you have against beards? What's that?
I don't have anything against beard. It's so that the reader can feel the kiss.
Oh! So we're using descriptive terms. Okay, I see.
That's true.
So this isn't just being against the bearded ones.
Now this kiss is very important.
Okay.
It causes a lot of problems.
So we're gonna focus on that, not the beard question. This is Beardgate now.
No.
Just continue. Just kidding.
No, it starts a whole lot of other problems. It obviously was unexpected on Mia's part, even though she was out of body. Still, it was her kissing Murphy. Mia at this time was dating Bert, so that probably didn't help keep them together. The second thing is, for those that have read any of the books past this, if you're familiar with... Okay, here's a spoiler, but this started the Cooper curse.
Okay, and that's all we need to say, because beyond that, if you just read this book, that, like me, having only been into Sandtrap, the next book, that sounds like something that King Koopa of the Mushroom Kingdom contracts if he hangs out with the mushroom people too long.
It's not a Oob STD.
Oh, okay. Okay, just making sure. Well, really, so I think that what we got here is we have a story that is revolving around the attachment of objects. We have the introduction of oobing.
Yes.
We have Sabine taking a much bigger role than she did in the first book.
Yes.
And we have a lot of different concepts kind of being thrown about. So I guess this really it's hard because when you start the first book, you have a certain set of rules, but hey, you don't know if it's a one and done book, so you can just kind of throw
everything
in at once. But when it comes to, hey, this might turn into a series, just maybe a trilogy, maybe into a series, so that's when you had to start making up some of the rules of your universe and your world. Was there anything in particular that during this book you felt you had to really nail down? Was it the ley lines or?
Well, yes. Basically, if there are a lot of people will talk about ley lines or they'll talk about bilocation, and they have some scientific things that go on. They have their own rules from other wonderful books that they've read. But when you start off a series, you have to make rules as an author that I have to follow. If, for instance, a ghost travels faster than a human. That's why you might see on some of these movies how the ghost looks like it's shaking if it's standing still. Mm-hmm. An Uber travels 6 times faster than a ghost, or maybe 10 times faster than ghosts. I'm not sure it's escaping me right now.
The conversion.
They go more. Okay. They go faster than a ghost. Mia, in order to travel anywhere with Murphy, would have to slow herself down so that they would be able to see each other.
Right.
If you're traveling a ley line, you can't travel. You can travel over water only if there's a ley line. You can oob over water as long as there's a ley line attached. For instance, Mia could walk all over the city of Chicago, but she couldn't cross any bridge. She would have to cross a bridge where a ley line goes over.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but what's happening to Sabine, part of the reason that there was initially trouble with this was the fact that the ley line, it was an island, correct?
Right. Sabine was, for those that read it, Sabine was abducted by a maniacal billionaire. King
Koopa?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
No. That, we call him Sire. He likes to be called Sire.
So do I.
That's beside the point. But anyway, he likes to collect things. And he was in Chicago, he saw Sabine walk by in her bilocated state, and he wanted her. So he kidnapped her. In order to get her to his island, his captain of his ship, or boat, cabin cruiser, whatever, has to travel a distinct course, which is a ley line that goes through Lake Michigan to these islands that aren't on the map.
Right. So that kind of like explaining the rules.
So without a boat to get off, she's stuck there.
Right.
She can have the whole line.
Okay.
She's stuck there.
There you go. Now. See, that's the sort of thing because it has been a while since I've read it and brushed up on some of the details, but that's really cool. See, I think that one of the things that amazes me the most about the whole series is you got to make rules because rules are meant to be broken eventually. But the idea is that rules are made to be broken maybe in the future, but they don't mean much if they're broken immediately. There has to be your own logic and sense of systems.
Or you could be very powerful. For instance, a ghost doesn't cross a line of salt, but a very powerful ghost, as we'll see in books coming up, can. Murphy still has a problem with salt. He can't cross it. Even way back, right up to book 18, the dude can't cross a line of salt.
Okay.
He is ineffectual. So it's like what they believe. If they believe they can cross it, they can cross it, but he can't cross it.
Gotcha. So somewhat spoiler for later, but we'll
But what I do break is excuse me, I break lore, which you normally would think of.
Yes. Okay.
Which you normally would think of when people think of usually out-of-body experiences. It's that whole operating room thing.
Yeah.
I kind of take mine more of the Eastern masters of bilocation, where they would transfer their inner self away from their body, and they would walk that's what it's called. So I kind of move in that. I decide to energize it and say that, hey, they can do something else. They can do what ghosts do.
Yeah.
Except for it's very difficult for them, because they move so fast, to connect with the real world. Let's say to pick up a sticker is very difficult.
Right.
And she has to do that. Yes.
Well, that's part of it. So I guess that's the thing about writing paranormal stories are different, because you have to establish rules, because there's rules that are outside of normal rules of the road. Green light means go, red means stop. You have to build your own rules for this universe. And also, I guess, is building a team. Mia's still a consultant at this point.
Right.
But the team itself, and kind of trying to make everyone fit together and what dynamics work.
Right. In the beginning, the first book is very evident that on PEEPs, the Paranormal Entity Exposure Partners, Mike Dupree is pretty much the egotistical announcer. And I didn't take anyone in particular for this character. I took you all. But put you all into one handsome batch, and that's how he starts off here. Well, comes to the second book, Bert, who's also a type A personality, is coming up. So there's a little bit of friction there also.
A little bit of pride and butting heads.
But they each have their jobs. They're separate. They each have their jobs. And then we have the two techs.
Yeah.
And then Mia consulting.
Well, yeah, and it starts off that way. Well, I guess with how... When it comes to writing, obviously, there's one thing that I always remember from my old English lit and such, and Mrs. Duxbury's class at community college, my best teacher ever. Anyway, that's really not important here. Is the fact that there cannot be a story without conflict, or if not, it's just basically an episode of a show where nothing happens.
Right.
It's basically everyday life. The idea is there has to be conflict. So how do you put together your conflict, or the well-placed monkey wrenches amongst the team and just things? I mean, what inspires, or what's your process for that?
Well, I write a story and basically write myself into a corner.
The corner. See, this comes up every time. This is how...
The corner is very important.
I find it fascinating, because when I write myself into a corner, I start smacking my keyboard and going... because I don't know what I'm doing afterwards, and I'm like, and they get out of the corner by somehow,
No, the reason...
I can't do it.
Okay, what you need to do, future writers, is I engineer my way out of the corner. I try to take always the smart route, because I am not going to put my peeps, and I'm not going to make them stupid, because Ted's a genius. Beth's a gifted researcher.
Mm-hmm.
Bert has been doing this since God knows when, and Mike is a very good investigator himself. I'm not going to have them do stupid things. They do stupid things out of ignorance of the situation, but knowledge is power. So the more knowledge they amass is how they'll get out of these situations.
Right.
And I look at, if I was in the situation, what would I do? A lot of these things might have taken a while to come, but I don't jump the shark, because that's cheating.
That's cheating.
That's cheating, yeah.
Well, plus the Fonzie is not even in any of these books. From
No, and we're not near the ocean.
And no one taps a jukebox and plays a song and goes, hey.
No.
None of that.
But Murphy's kind of our Fonzie.
He's kind of the Fonzie. Yeah, he is the too cool for school.
Yes, he is. He doesn't talk much in the first two books.
Yeah, but see, that's part of it. Sometimes you see,
unless you say, people, hey, if people think you're smart and you don't say much, that's why.
yeah. Well, I know from my experience with the ladies, since I don't shut up, I have there's no mysteries about me.
Oh.
There's no tall, dark, and brooding here. There's average height, rambles, and I hope they find rambling endearing.
He's available.
Hush, Mom, God. Every time. No, seriously, ladies, I'm here. No. Moving forward. Moving forward, we like to make sure we have a nice little page and a list when it comes to our books here. But as you can see at this point, whoa, it's done. Hey, that's the sound of paper crumpling. We're putting into a recycling bin. Let's see if I can make it. I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea is that
We
talked about it. We talked about ghostly attachments. I think that
didn't talk all about it, so the book is still there for you. Hey, if we didn't answer anything, we had a couple questions come in, but if you have questions, feel free to message me or write me at Alexie Aaron Biz at gmail.com.
Right, and we'll make sure we'll put that in the post and somebody to click on. I mean, because I think the thing that's great about any work of fiction is that if you love it, you can look at it and you can dissect it and you can read it multiple times, and
You'll find different things.
You'll find different things, and I think that what I personally can tell you from my own experience, for those I think I mentioned this last podcast, but I've started branching out, doing YouTube gaming type things, and I have started to experience a little bit of what Alexie's been experiencing when it comes to reader feedback. See, it's viewers to me, and feedback and such, and the inability to please everybody is just a fact of life.
You can't.
And B, making sure that you're staying connected with your fans. In fact, that's actually my number one rule, is trying to take after Alexie's example and be good to the fans. And that's why I think that you've had the success and such that you've had.
Well, I enjoy the reader interaction.
Yeah.
And I always have to remember that I write the stories that come out of me, but I write to the reader that enjoys the books. It's for your enjoyment. It's for entertainment. It's not a life lesson, because Mia has made every mistake possible.
Right. These are not good moral guidelines.
No, not at all.
That's not fun anyway. I mean, I'm not sitting up straight in my chair right now. I'll have you know, I'm leaning forward. You know, I'm breaking a lot of rules right now. Okay. Full charge calorie soda.
Well, we have an announcement.
Oh, we do have an announcement. Oh.
That was lame. Try again.
I don't know. I don't have any instruments here.
No.
Here we go. We'll try it. Okay, you have to say it if I do this.
Okay.
Okay. The next haunted series novel by the name of
A Rose by Any Other Name
will be available, assuming Amazon doesn't screw anything up, when?
February 1st.
February 1st.
Yes, we've cut a week off of it and given the editor a what would you say? She's doing fine.
Basically,
she'll get out of the hospital soon.
The
drugs are working.
The drugs are working. You know that new axe you guys have been seeing in the photos, which was a gift that you received this Christmas.
Oh no.
Yeah. Long story short, we wanted to make sure this book is coming out to you. So part of my job, my job duties have expanded beyond just being Aaron the web guy, and occasionally I get to play Aaron the axe guy.
Oh yes.
Because I have the beard, I have the menacing look. You guys have seen the cover of the book of me and menacingness. That's not actually 100% my face. We changed it slightly to protect the identity of me. But I get to carry around the axe every once in a while and just kind of hang around the editor. Just saying.
Oh, my axe.
Yeah.
I'm a Christmas present.
Yeah.
It's actually Murphy says that's his axe.
Well, I know Murphy lets me borrow it, and I hang it over my shoulder, and whenever I see the red pen just, looking at some blogs there, eh? And then I just kind of, just take it out and look at it and see that it's nice and sharp.
No, we probably have it because we're afraid of her.
Let's be honest. That's true. There is no coercing the red pen. No. Which by the way, we'd love to hear some feedback. I think a lot of people were actually kind of interested in hearing from the red pen. We could force her to come in here and talk more often.
But she doesn't let the rest of us talk.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true. She
should have her own broadcast.
Oh my!
The comma.
The comma.
And what you can do with it.
The comma. The comma and where you can shove it. Gotcha. That'd be. Would you subscribe to that?
I live that.
You live that. That's
yes.
your life. Yeah.
Yes.
And the red pen's my big sister. Okay, so I've been doing this for a long time. One funny story I'm just gonna quick tell, just because of the nature of this being a family business, is when we were kids, between the red pen and myself, 5 years my senior. We'd play Battle Beasts. She was a good big sister. She babysat, she took care of me. Battle Beasts were these little tiny dolls, basically bigger than a Lego man, smaller than a Ninja Turtle action figure type sort of thing.
Made out of stuff like an eraser.
It was definitely very rubbery. And they were just like, yo, let's put some armor on like bipedal versions of foxes and elephants and whatever. And if they had names, Lord knows what they were. But the best part about this is that my sister, the Red Pen, was a great sister taking care of me. But she was an effing cheater because she would always steal the best Battle Beasts. We'd have them all in a little pile. We'd do our little, I take this one, I take this one, I take this one. Know what she would do? She'd hide some behind her back. And all of a sudden it's like, how'd you get White Fox? She's a cheater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, yeah, I sufficiently talked some crap about her. I feel better now.
Oh, this brings up a joke.
Oh.
That somebody sent me.
Okay, let's hear it.
On Facebook. The whole idea of divvying things up. There were two boys, and they went into a graveyard. I'm thinking Georgia, obviously.
Yeah.
And because there's a real tall pecan tree in Georgia, or pecan tree, depends if you're from New Orleans or Georgia. They picked up all the ones they could find on the ground, and he sat down with the other boy, and they had this whole mass of them. He says, let's divide them up. This is how we'll do it. One for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. While this is going on, another little boy's riding his bike down the street, a little scared of the graveyard, but, he's on wheels, and he hears a voice. So he stops, and he hears, one for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. And he gets back on his bike, and he's all excited. And he rides his bike down towards town, and he passes an old man on a crutch. Or maybe a cane. Working his way uphill. And he says, sir, the devil's in the graveyard with God, and they're divvying up souls. So the old man says, oh, you're lying. So the boy goes back. The old man's thinking, but I've always wanted to know what the Lord looks like. So he works his way to the gate beside the boy and starts listening. And yes, he too hears, one for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. In the graveyard, the two boys had finished divvying up that bit. And the older boy says in a very loud voice, that's it for these. Let's get those two nuts over by the fence. So the boy and the old man took off. The boy passed the old man after a half a mile.
So basically, just to dissect the joke, which is necessary for all good jokes.
Okay.
No, just to dissect the joke, because it actually took me a second for it to figure out, because they were behind the fence and they thought they were talking about those two nuts when they were just literally speaking of pecans. Pecans, yes. I think that's a good one. It's tough though. It's.
I didn't tell real well. I'm a writer. I'm not a joke teller.
You think you're a storyteller.
I'm a storyteller. Yes.
You know what you do?
I tell big lies.
Next time, write it out and everything, because you write, I read.
Oh. Okay.
Except for when I screw it up, and especially when it's got semi-weird, pseudo-sexual things.
Well, you're the one that wanted to read it. I was going to read it.
No, well, I wanted to do it right. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right.
I'm dyslexic, so he's helping me out.
And this is the voice that sailed 1,000 ships. Just saying. I don't know where they're going. They're not coming for this voice.
They're going away from the voice.
They're going away from the voice. They don't want to hear the creaking. Now, obviously we got to wrap this up sometime. We like to ramble as we do, but it's always hard to stop because it's just fun having conversation. This is also my opportunity just to be able to spend time with Alexie without having to go, are you writing? Are you not writing? Can I actually talk to you? Are we allowed to? And if not that, I have my sign up because I'm recording YouTube videos. Right. So
we might meet up on the way to getting a Pepsi. Or
getting a drink. Yeah, basically.
The next podcast is going to be about Sandtrap.
Well, the next podcast will be about Sandtrap. The next definitely podcast. We may have something in between there. You never know.
Okay, but about Sandtrap.
Ooh, okay.
What I'd like to say is Sand Trap is my favorite book of all of them.
Ooh.
So if you guys have questions, now's your time because, and I'll tell you in the next podcast why it's my favorite. Doesn't mean I don't love all the books that has been since then, but there are some very original thoughts that I put into Sand Trap.
So you're real proud of that one.
That one I'm very proud of. That once I said, cool, when I got done. I was like, oh, all right, I think I did something here.
All right. So while we're picking favorites, me or the red pen? Shoot.
The beta reader.
Oh, that was going with C. There was clearly an A and a B there.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic.
Oh, okay. Well, she can't be. Honestly, she looked at me right there, and I could tell the answer. The red pen is second place. What can I say? Anyway, first off, I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the Alexie Aaron podcast, especially considering
all the garbage they have to go through.
Well, there's a lot of extra stuff, and we don't generally edit these because, one, I'm lazy, and no, actually, it's not even really that. It's the fact that I believe that podcasting, the good ones are conversations.
Right.
We try to be a little organized, but I get sidetracked tangents. In fact, our whole family's kind of known for it. Trying to have a conversation with a certain aunt of mine is a matter between the tangents I go off and the tangents she goes off of. Before you know it, if you're having a conversation about television, before you know it, you're talking about lawn mowing. It's like, what the heck? Where did we come to get here?
Yeah.
That's and conspiracy theories, I suppose.
Yes.
Good stuff like that. But once again, thank you for listening. And basically, final word, like you said, February 1st, 18th series. 18th of the Haunted series.
Right. A rose by any other name.
Rose by any other name.
In this case, it's not that it doesn't smell any sweet. A rose by any other name is deadly.
Yes, and the beta reader's already had his first crack at it, hasn't he?
Oh, he loved it.
Oh, he loved it, did he?
This is a long book.
Oh, okay.
So if you stock up your sweets, you're gonna have to kind of like ration them because it's gonna take you a lot longer to read this book.
You used a lot of big words then, huh?
No.
Like elucidate.
Just a lot of words.
I like that word.
I'm so happy you found that word.
The red pen decided to use the word elucidate, to just describe something the other day, and I was like, are you in editing mode right now? Speak plain, this isn't the SATs, woman. Anyway, so once again, thank you very much for joining us in the Alexie Aaron podcast, and funny enough, I have trouble ending these just as I have trouble ending my YouTube stuff, because I always just keep on going, so it's going to be up to you. If I have a final word, Alexie.
Thank you very much for supporting the Haunted series, and those that have gone on to the Finn Latham books, thank you very, very much. It's a pet project of mine. And it's only for the mystery-minded. So thank you very much. And I'm very happy that you've come this far with us. I will continue to write the Haunted series as long as I have original stories to write.
Okay.
And this next book, you're going to love.
You're going to love?
Yes.
That's straight from the horse's mother's mouth.
People that had problem with the last book, they won't have that kind of problem with this one. But I didn't listen to them. I already had the book written by the time they started complaining.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, ha ha ha.
Okay, well, that's our final thoughts. And third time's a charm. Thank you very much for the Alexie Aaron podcast. I'm Aaron the Webguy. And
Alexie Aaron.
And we hope you stay warm this winter, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, enjoy summer.
Enjoy.
Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.